Hey, what's up everybody? I am Jose from Florida Hood Blogs. Ever since I was little, I've had a passion for video making. Today we're going to talk about Southwest Florida versus Southeast Florida. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into that subject than just who's got the strongest coffee. We're going to talk about who's got the best beaches. Where is the best working opportunities? Where is the traffic worst? Where is the best food? Who's got the best crime? Or maybe who's got the worst crime? That's not better. Maybe who's got the least crime? And we're also going to talk about nature. If you're a nature lover, where's the best nature? We're going to break down Southeast Florida, Southwest Florida, and I hope you watch the entire video because at the end of the video, there is a warning for one of the two coasts, and I want you to hear it. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with the beaches. When you think about Florida, one thing or two things come to mind. The first thing is beaches, and the second thing is Florida man. We're going to talk about the beaches. Which coast has the best beaches? Now, after many years going to beaches on both sides, a very sad reality has crept in that my coast, the left coast, actually doesn't have better beaches. We have been struggling with the red tide. The Gulf of Mexico doesn't have that circulation, that constant fresh stream of the Florida Strait to make our waters fresh. We still don't know what's causing the red tide to be here. Garbage comes in through the Mississippi River, collected from the entire country, dumps in the Gulf of Mexico, and sadly the Gulf of Mexico has also had oil leaks that were massive. Who knows what is the problem? Our beaches are struggling. People are not coming to Southwest Florida because of the red tide. However, you will not find that problem. They're getting a 9 out of 10 on the east coast of Florida. Their beaches are beautiful. The Florida Strait brings in fresh water from the Caribbean, and their beaches are absolutely gorgeous. Not only that, but their beaches are full of life. If you like people watching, if you like to see action, people walking around, people doing things, there's so much more going on the beaches out there. Really, all you see on my coast is old Canadians wearing Speedos. If you're overweight like me, food is important to you. And even if you're not overweight, we all like to eat. Food is really important. We're going to give Southwest Florida a 6 out of 10. There are a lot of restaurants in Southwest Florida. 5 means average. It's a little bit above average. Even though there's a lot of restaurants, most of the customers, here's where the problem comes with Southwest Florida, is that the customers are only coming here for the winter, and they really do not care for our food. They don't have to be return customers because who cares? They're not going to come back again. Restaurants are packed even if they're not good in Southwest Florida, so it's a 6 out of 10. Better than average, but still not amazing. 10 out of 10 for Southeast Florida. From West Palm Beach to Miami to Homestead, doesn't matter where you are, you will find Cuban food off the scales. Every Latin American country food off the scales. They even have barbecue. Everything you want to eat, they're going to have it, and the prices are amazing. The prices are better. The food is always fresh. The customers are not all rich people. They are average working class people. When working class people buy food, it's because it's good. They don't buy food that's crap if it's expensive. Now when we talk about nature, Southwest Florida has really got it beat. Southwest Florida has Everglades, just like Southeast Florida, but they're more accessible, they're easier to get to, and there's a lot less people in those places, and people have a better respect for nature. If you like nature, you will really enjoy Southwest Florida. We have beautiful pinelands. It's just everything from Charlotte County to Lee County to Collier County. There's stuff to do, and the beaches are part of that nature. So the beaches, I know you're probably wondering why a 3 out of 10 on beaches. Well, there are some beautiful nature stuff along the beaches. The East Coast is pretty much flat. The West Coast, there's a lot of inlets and rivers that flow in, and all the way up to Peace River even, there's beautiful stuff. Now, Southeast Florida, when it comes to nature, unless you like exotic animals, then you're going to get a 4 out of 10. Not saying that there are not interesting stuff in Southeast Florida. You'll see iguanas, you'll see parrots, you'll see Florida men. There's a lot of animals in Southeast Florida, but they're not native. They don't belong here, and it's just not really a nature place. There are some good parts where you can find nature, like Davie, Florida, but there's small areas. It's a 4 out of 10. When it comes to work, Florida is a great state. There is no income tax. There is a lot of people who need properties taken care of because they're elderly, they're wealthy, and they don't want to get their hands dirty. If you are a working class person, you should find work almost in the entire state of Florida. The only downside to working in Florida is that the salaries do not add up to the housing, but housing is unaffordable on both coasts when you look at what people are getting paid. In other words, it's not easy, it's difficult out here. So you're not going to live on the beach if you collect garbage for a living like I do. I'm a junk removal guy, and I'm not going to have a house on the beach. If you're a regular working class person in Southwest Florida, you're living all the way in Lehigh. You have a large commute. If you're a working class person and you are on the East Coast, you will be on 95 up to 2 hours each way. That's a lot of driving. So the working situation is not the best for everybody in Florida. However, if you're retired, you don't have to worry about that. Now, we're going to give an 8 out of 10 to Southeast Florida for one simple reason. It's a very interesting and fun place to work. Being bilingual is a plus. A lot of times people say, learn English. Well, you know, people go to college to learn all these skills, and then when they get out of college, those skills are worthless. If you learn Spanish, you are bilingual, you will have work, and it will be fun, and it's a very interesting place to work. I have worked in Southeast Florida, and it is a very fun, interesting place to work. However, Southwest Florida will get a 5 out of 10. Working here usually is not fun. If you have an established company, you work for yourself, you may do very well. There's a lot of money moving here. However, the competition for that work in Southwest Florida is increasing, and too many people are willing to work for so little that it makes having a company very difficult. I have worked in restaurants. For the most part, you smile at the customer in their face, and then you go in the back and talk smack about them. Nobody really enjoys their work here. Most people are trying to live a lifestyle they can't afford, and they're really not happy with what they're doing for a living. An influx of regular people coming to Southwest Florida from up north has made the job market extremely competitive. It used to be that only rich people moved down here to retire. Now you have normal people coming from the north. They have absolutely no money to take and work to offer at any price. They're trying to live out of their means, and it makes the job market extremely difficult. Let's move on to traffic, which we've already touched on a little bit, and my ratings for traffic are going to surprise you. If you're a working class person, traffic is going to be a nightmare on both coasts. However, if you're doing the retirement thing, there's a little surprise for you. I've been doing driving all over the state for my videos. If you watch my channel, that's what we do. We drive around, so I'm very familiar with traffic. Southwest Florida traffic is much more aggravating. Southeast Florida traffic may be packed in a lot of places, especially for the daily commuters, but you're not on a daily commute route. You're a tourist. Keep that in mind, or you're coming to Florida to visit, or you're retired, so you're not doing that 9 to 5 every day. However, if you're doing the 9 to 5 in Southwest Florida, and you're living in Lehigh Acres, for example, or Cape Coral, you're working in Naples, it is a 3 out of 10. Even along the coast, then you have all the snowbirds and tourists. I live on US 41, 2 miles from the beach. It is horrible. I've taken 15 minutes to pull into my street from US 41. 3 out of 10 all the way around. I've been around Cape Coral forever, and I still can't figure out how the streets work. A 4 out of 10 for Southeast Florida because they have a grid pattern, and they've actually planned out enough highways to handle the volume. There are no plans in Southwest Florida to handle the volume. Lehigh will actually be worse than Miami when it's fully developed. Cape Coral is laid out so weird. There's only a few ways to get in. It makes absolutely no sense. There needs to be expressways in Southwest Florida, turnpikes, something to move the traffic faster, so the East Coast gets a better rating. Where the East Coast is definitely killing the West Coast is on their crime. They are more avid. They are more experienced. Oh, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to do this? Hold on. Obviously, there's more crime in Southeast Florida, and there's a reason for it. We'll get to it at the end of the video. Southeast Florida has some crime issues. Now, it's not 2008. There aren't gangsters on the street corner, and they're not selling you crack. They'd rather beg you for $20 than try to sell you a crack rock. The world is changing. A 7 out of 10 for Southwest Florida. Southwest Florida usually doesn't have crime problems, and even when I roll through neighborhoods that appear to be kind of, that's the best neighborhoods around, you don't see crime. Crime is not that big of a problem, and it's because most communities are gated, and there's a lot of security. There's a lot of security, too, on the East Coast. Both coasts have a lot of security. 7 out of 10, you're usually not going to have to worry about crime in Southwest Florida. And if you do have crime, it's not like in your face. A 3 out of 10 for Southeast Florida. Southeast Florida, even though a lot of neighborhoods like Wynwood have really cleaned up, Little Haiti have really cleaned up, there's still spots where people who are transient, they're vagrant, they're homeless, they're just out in the streets, either full time or they're just out there doing who knows what. They're going to be begging you for money. They're going to be watching you when you pull up at the gas station. And there's definitely eyes on you everywhere you go in Southeast Florida. There is a crime problem. And the affordability issue doesn't help people who are homeless. I was recently in Lake Worth, Florida. It took me going to 15 different businesses, including liquor stores, gas stations, trying, and even a supermarket to get to use a bathroom, and I couldn't find a bathroom. There's so many homeless people, and there's so many vagrant people, just, I don't know, just people hanging around up to no good, that it's really hard even to find a bathroom. Now, I told you guys there was a warning for Southwest Florida. It's going to be, I see signs in Southwest Florida that says build a wall. They actually have a mural in Southeast Florida that says build a bridge. The discrimination and the racism in Southwest Florida makes it a very nasty place. I have wondered which coast is better for many, many years. And today the answer is very clear. The southeast of Florida is much better. Yes, there's more crime. Yes, very true. However, places are able to turn that crime and that atmosphere. Look at Wynwood, look at Little Haiti. They're able to transform a place from a bad place to a good place. They're able to gentrify. They're able to fit in, make those people fit in or move out or something. They're able to do something with the element of crime, and everybody's able to get employment. When there's employment opportunities, people would rather work than steal. That's a proven fact. Miami just made the number 4 on the country on a recent list by Smart Assets, ranked as the best, fastest growing cities, or best cities, best boomtown. Boomtown, that's a phrase that they used. Miami has had the largest jump in income. Miami's income used to be very low. There's been a huge jump in income, and it probably has to do with gentrification and real estate prices going up in the area. People with a prejudice prefer to move to Southwest Florida because nobody ends up in South Florida. South Florida is a move you think about, you plan it out, and then you do it. And most prejudiced people, they look at the Hispanic and black population in Southeast Florida, and that's why they're not moving there. They're moving there out of a prejudice. So they end up in Southwest Florida, and then they move into a private community so they don't have to see regular working class people. To me, gated communities are basically segregation living on. On my video, that is the most popular video on the channel, 10 reasons why people are moving out of Naples, Florida. A lot of people said that I'm envious of rich people. Well, I just stayed at a hotel on the beach. I pulled up in my work truck next to a guy that had a brand new Bentley and a Rolls Royce. They were right there in the parking lot next to my work truck. We talked by the beach. We walked to the lobby. Everybody was friendly. There is more wealth in Southeast Florida than there is in Southwest Florida. Palm Beach has a lot of wealth. I have absolutely no problem with those wealthy people. In fact, my wife's family lives in Palm Beach in a very wealthy area. We hang out with them and we're cool with them. So I really don't understand why they're saying that. They're saying that I'm envious of the wealthy people here. There is more wealth on the, Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter, Juno. These are beautiful places. The real estate is expensive even in the bad areas, so it's definitely expensive in the gated communities and wealthy communities over there. And I love the area. We were just in Jupiter, which is a very nice area with a lot of wealthy people. There was Bentleys parked outside the restaurant where we were eating. It was a Cuban restaurant, and it was packed with American people. You don't see that here in Southwest Florida. If you go in Southwest Florida to a Hispanic restaurant, it is all Hispanic people, with the exception of Mexican restaurants, which are really American culture at this point, not so much other Latin restaurants. I stayed in Palm Beach Gardens. The guy that took me at the register was African American. The guys that were working outside in the valet service were Cuban and American. The people that were doing the cleaning were from Guatemala. The assistant person at the register at the hotel was from Russia. Social engagement of everybody in the community and the economic force is essential for the entire community to prosper. Southeast Florida has integrated everybody into their community. Southwest Florida has not. You will find American people eating at Cuban restaurants. You will find American people eating at Haitian restaurants. You will find American people living in neighborhoods that are predominantly Hispanic or Haitian or black. It doesn't matter. Southwest Florida is completely segregated. Yes, there are communities, okay, within Southeast Florida, but Cubans recently moved into Opelika. They were not prejudiced and said, oh, this is a Haitian area, we're not going to move into there. No, Cubans have started moving to Opelika, and they changed the neighborhood. Cubans are starting to gentrify Opelika, a traditionally Haitian neighborhood. It doesn't matter. Russians, Lebanese people, they'll go in there and they'll invest money in any neighborhood regardless of the local population. And in Southwest Florida, you do not have that. The wealthy are behind a wall in a gated community, and they want nothing to do with anybody else regardless of race. So to the people that made those comments about me being hateful or jealous of rich people, referring to white demographic, I love rich white people. I make all my money off them. I make a living off them. None of my Spanish families ever left me an inheritance. My wife's family's left her a bunch of inheritances. So, you know what? I'd rather take care of an American person who's leaving me some money than a Spanish person that ain't giving me nothing. And I'm saying it being Hispanic. I don't care. I'm not racist. I'm not hateful. I love everybody. What I'm saying is an observation that Southeast Florida has really taken part of, the socioeconomic balance in giving everybody an opportunity to work and live in decent places. Kendall is a suburb of Miami that is wealthy Cubans, Venezuelans, Colombians, Jamaicans. It's a wealthy Latin American community. I've been to Atlanta, where you have wealthy African Americans. That is not the case in Southwest Florida. I have never ran into, I know thousands of Spanish people, like literally I know thousands of people. I might know 3 or 4 Latins who are actually wealthy. Like wealthy, not like they're all kind of, like wealthy. It doesn't exist. There's no opportunities for that to happen here, with the exception of like 2 or 3 guys that I know that are in the construction businesses. In reality, there's just a bunch of crooks who stole their way into wealth. That is disappointing. You know what else is disappointing? I just worked for somebody in West Palm Beach, and I was surprised that it was a gated community that was predominantly Haitian and Spanish. You do not see Haitian and Spanish people living in private communities in Southwest Florida. That we don't have that. The quality of life, also the rents in the apartment complex were about $1,900 a month. You just don't see that here. The rent, for there to be a community that is able to afford that much rent, and that the people that live there are predominantly Hispanic or Latin, you don't see that here. Doesn't exist. A community of wealthy Latinos, business owners, doesn't exist in Southwest Florida. Even though Collier County is about 20% Hispanic, we have a lot of Hispanic people, probably even more in Lee County. We have the population, they're just not living right. They're not given opportunities, and that is where Southeast Florida is able to shine. The reason the real estate is worth more is because the change starts at the bottom. When the Latino and the African American communities are able to improve their neighborhoods, which they have very much. I hadn't been in West Palm Beach in 8 years. I've skipped on it for 8 years. I recently went back to West Palm Beach, and I was extremely surprised at my findings. So if you haven't visited Florida in many years, this is a very fast changing state. I was really surprised when I last went to West Palm Beach. There was graffiti everywhere. There was gangsters hanging out everywhere. Now you go to West Palm Beach and you don't see that. I didn't see any graffiti. I went into neighborhoods that were high crime, and a lot of those neighborhoods have actually gentrified. It's a changing place because people in poor positions have been given an opportunity to change their lives, and the vast majority of them are taking it. Race doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. But I will mention, because of the comments that I received on a Facebook post not too long ago, basically stating that Southeast Florida has become like Latin America, and the subject was homelessness. I've been very familiar with Fort Lauderdale. I go there very often. Very familiar with Miami. I go there very often. And it's not that it matters to me, but let's be honest, the vast majority of homeless people are either African American or American. You do not see very many homeless people that are Latin. It's just, you don't see it. Most homeless people begging you for money. Matter of fact, we went to Fort Lauderdale, an area that was predominantly Hispanic, predominantly Haitian, and Latin American, and we had 3 different homeless people beg us for money. All 3 of them were American. You do not see somebody Latin begging for money. People who come to Florida from Latin America come here to work. They have to walk through a desert. They have to climb on trains. They have to find their way here somehow illegally, which is not the easiest way to enter our country. They didn't get on a plane mostly and hop over here. These people came here and they risked their lives to get here. They're going to work. They're going to do something with their lives. I go to regions in the United States that are 100%, 95% native-born citizens, and they are living in absolute poverty in mobile homes in areas that are cold in the winter, and it snows even, and they're living in absolute poverty. Even though they are born here, they know the language, they went through the school systems. There's no reason for them to be living in absolute poverty other than the fact that they do not have the willpower to change their lives. If you went to Miami 20 years ago and you go there now, you'll notice that the people who were struggling 20 years ago are today homeowners. A massive percentage of them are paid off. They're doing something with themselves, and I really appreciate the fact that the communities in this part of Florida have given everybody an opportunity to change their lives for the better. Southwest Florida needs to catch up. I also noticed, now this is just an observation, I don't know demographically how this works out, I noticed that most Hispanic people that I encountered in West Palm Beach, even at Latin restaurants, spoke English. You can walk into a Latin restaurant in Southwest Florida and they will not know English. They don't have to, because English-speaking people here just don't go to those businesses. And it really surprised me that I went to Cuban and Colombian restaurants and the staff has to know English, because American people in that area actually appreciate our business, appreciate our culture, and are actually taking part in that economical process. Doesn't happen here. So I did notice that for the most part. I was surprised to see so many Cuban people, my own people, speaking English over there much more than here. Here, most of us are working construction jobs. Over there, I saw people working in hotels and working in establishments in white-collar jobs as well. So very different. The opportunities that are being given to Latinos in Southeast Florida versus Southwest Florida, where we are basically unwanted. I just talked to somebody today, and this was their experience that they shared with me today. They're an elderly person who has a parking sticker. It's a very Hispanic person. They look Hispanic, and they pulled into a supermarket today here in Southwest Florida. And when they got out, an elderly American person was angry because obviously he looks Hispanic, and a Hispanic person with a disability getting my tax dollars parking in a parking spot in front of a store? Yes, that is a real life story that I just heard from somebody here today. So you guys know that I made the video 10 reasons why people are moving out of Southwest Florida. It's the most popular video on our channel. And I have that sentiment. I am sick of the discrimination here. I have felt discrimination by people and in places where you wouldn't expect it. It's a very sad reality. People that move to Southwest Florida are moving to Southwest Florida because they want to be part of a social environment, social economic environment. People in Southeast Florida are moving there because they want to be in the good weather, they want to enjoy the beaches, and they don't have a prejudice against everybody. It's a very international, diverse place, and they have great communities, and anybody wanting to work has opportunities. Southwest Florida, on the other hand, that is your warning. I would really recommend, if you're moving from up north and you're a prejudiced person, you already know where you're coming, Southwest Florida. If you are a loving person who loves everybody, you'll definitely enjoy Southeast Florida. Beautiful people, beautiful place.